Good morning and welcome back to Questioning Sense with me, Matt. Hope you are all well. So all good here, no dramas at all. Everything is ticking along nicely. And it's with a heavy heart, a sad day for Questioning Sense as we approach the final Q&A with regards to the Orto Parisi collection. And interestingly, this has suddenly become one of the most requested ones we've done. I'm always fending messages. Why haven't you done the Boccanera one? And I'm really sorry. We've been really busy. Work has gone mental, and it's just taken a long time to get around to it. But here we are. Today, we are going to finish the Orto Parisi Q&A videos with Boccanera, which means in Italian, dark mouth. A very strange name, but this is it all part of Gualtieri's crazy marketing campaign where, you know, I think the quest was to explore orifices and, you know, the body odours and things like that. And, you know, when you look in the box, there's an impression of a negative, of an anus in the box. So, you know, it's a really interesting one in terms of marketing and how it's been brought to market. It came out in 2014 with the original 5, I think it was. So it's been around for a long time, and it's quite a controversial one due to its name and the sort of things that you affiliate with it. But obviously, you know, there's a lot of theatre involved in the marketing for the Orto Parisi collection, and you know, it's good fun. It's all very justifiable. So what we'll do in the usual format, I think we have 8 questions to get through, so we'll get through it. I'll answer the questions that I've had from you guys, and obviously, you know, this is the last one of the Orto Parisi, but I like the Q&A format, so we are going to resurrect it and do it with different perfumes. I think we will obviously do the Nascimatos that I own, and then maybe some others. So if you have any requests, if there are any of the other perfumes you've seen in any of my videos that you want a Q&A video done, just message me on Instagram. And we can do it. If you're not following us on Instagram, that's by far the easiest way to get hold of us. I spend way too much time on it, and I'm always happy to answer your questions. I mean, if you're not into Instagram, don't worry about it. Just pop the questions below the video, and I'll pick them up and we'll do that. So we've got 8 questions with regards to this rather wonderful perfume, and we will crack on with it. Now, recently I noticed when I knew I was going to do this video, I thought I'd have a little check out and see what some of the more established critiques have been writing about it, and I just, it annoys me when I read so much rubbish that's been written about the Orto Parisi collection, and it just pisses me off completely. You know, between Rich and I, we own literally far too many perfumes from Xerjoff, from Creed, from Tower, from Gourmand, from loads and loads of different houses, and both Rich and I put the Orto Parisi collection as our favourites. So this says a lot. Now, I don't know whether that's because we've lived with the perfumes. We're not just getting a sample, spraying it on skin for an hour and then thinking we know the perfume inside out and then talking shit about it. I don't know if that's how it works, or, you know, obviously critiques and reviewers, it is a political world out there, and you can always see, you know, who their favourite houses are and things like that. So I don't know if Gualtieri's, you know, caused chaos in people's lives or something like that, or they're just, you know, I don't know if it's a grudge thing or whatever. But I've read a lot, and you know, and these are established and, you know, well-regarded names, and I just look at it and think, what are you talking about? So anyway, it kind of justifies doing the Q&As because, as I say, these are perfumes that Rich and I have had multiple bottles of and have lived with for a long time, so we do feel qualified to talk about it. So enough of me ranting. Let's get on with the Q&A. Okay, the first question is who can wear it? Now, if we look at Boccanera, or dark mouth, it's an interesting fragrance, okay? It's like all the Orto Parisis, they're completely unisex. Now, because this one has got notes of dark chocolate or cacao, sandalwood, chili, ginger, there's pepper, there's musk, there's dark woods, there's some spicing, you know, and again, because it's a Gualtieri creation, there are no notes, so this is all what we can find in the perfume. So they're not completely accurate note listings, they're just what we assume or we can pick out when we wear the perfume. So, you know, you have to take all this with a pinch of salt because only Gualtieri himself knows what's gone in there. Obviously, he uses an awful lot of aroma chemicals So it's not a natural perfume at all. He uses a lot of potent aroma chemicals as well to create these perfumes. So what you have is a dark, sweet, exotic perfume that I think anyone can wear. It's one for the more mature fragrance enthusiast because it is a little challenging, but a young thruster could happily wear this as well. And obviously it smells amazing on a guy, it smells amazing on a girl. So, you know, and who can wear it? Pretty much anyone can wear it at any age, but I would err on the side of caution if you're just beginning your fragrance journey, because you might find it a little bit too challenging or a little bit too weird. And you know, I've said it in the others, if you like Sauvage, you probably won't like this. But you might, I don't know. It's well worth trying, but I would say to answer that question, anyone can wear it. Next up is what time of year best suits Boccanera? Good question, this one. I wear it all year round. In hot days, I will wear it very, very lightly because it's a dark and deep perfume. And because it's a dark and deep perfume, I would say, unless you like, sort of wearing crazy things at the wrong times, it's a colder weather perfume. So it's going to be for autumn. It's going to be for your winter. It might be for spring, on a crisp spring morning, it would be lovely. But it's a heavier, darker perfume. So they tend to generally, lean towards being worn in cooler times. So, if you're mad like me, wear it in whatever you want, but generally I would err on the side of caution and say, wear it sort of in colder climes. But it's a good question. And also, sorry, I should have done this earlier. Have a look at the colour of it. There's a purple hue to this dark, magical juice. Right, the next question is it challenging? Well, it has to be. It's a Gaultieri and it's a dark, woody fragrance, so yes, it will be challenging. Not as challenging as Sturkis, and it's probably a lot easier to wear than Toroni, but it will throw up some challenges. There's a spikiness to it at times. You have this very smooth, dark, semi-sweet chocolate vibe to it, almost like cacao rather than chocolate. But that's with chili and ginger, and ginger is quite fiery. So, it does present some challenges. The overall perfume is sweet and warm and long-lasting and comforting for me. But obviously, as I've said earlier, I love the house and I love the perfumes. So some people will find it challenging. I'm not going to deny that or say, oh no, anyone can wear it. It's really easy. There's no challenging. Just spray it on and away you go. If you do that, you might come unstuck. As it's a Gaultieri, these have to be sampled first. I love them, but you might not. So, please sample them first. Okay, the next question is one that we get asked all the time when it comes to the Orto Parisis. Is there oud in it? Again, I can't say yes or no, definitely, but to me, it's not an oudy perfume. If you don't like the note of oud, you will, or one of the many facets of oud, to say all oud smells the same is ridiculous. You can never tell. It's such a complicated material. It changes so much. There's so many different types of oud. To just sort of write oud off is insane. But if what you assume to be oud, if you don't like that note, you'll be fine with this because it doesn't come across as a particularly oudy fragrance. It comes off as a dark, woodsy fragrance. Obviously, oud comes from wood, it sits in a tree, so oud in itself is very woody, so you can't rule out the fact that there may be some oud in here. But there's nothing fecal about it. There's no Barney, there's no blue cheese, there's nothing, well, there's a slight medicinal hint in it, but it's not something that I would attribute to oud. So I would say, in answer to that question, it's an oud-free zone, although there may be some oud in it. Okay, next question. Is it beast mode? Whoa! No, is the answer to that one. Long-lasting, punchy, great sillage, good projection, lasts a good 10-12 hours, but it's not a beast. It's not Toroni, it's not Megamara, and it's not Bergamasque, okay? But it does have real presence, and for the first couple of hours, it really does project very, very strongly. So if you're looking for a perfume with good performance, this will be it. But because it's kind of refined, a little toned down, it's not difficult to wear, so it's not too beastly at all. So it's a good one. And I think performance-wise, this is excellent. And I like it when people ask me about performance because I do think it's quite important. Obviously, the smell has got to be the most important thing with regards to a perfume. If you're buying a perfume, you're only going to buy it if you like the smell of it, of course. But there's nothing wrong with asking about performance. I think it's an important question to ask. These are expensive perfumes. Unless you are so wealthy you can afford to sort of spend £140 on a perfume and then have to reapply it 10 times a day. If you want to do that, fine, that's great for you. For me, that's not a part of me at all. If I'm spending a lot of money on a perfume, I do want to get some kind of value from it. Obviously, you know, I have to love the smell first. But in terms of the performance, it's good, but it's not a beast. Okay, next question. Is it a gourmand? Which is a great question. And it has to be. Yeah, of course, it's got chocolate in it. It's very, very difficult for me to describe a perfume with chocolate, with a note of chocolate or cacao or even cocoa in it, without saying that there's a gourmand element to it. So I would class it as a gourmand. It's probably only this and Seminalis that are kind of gourmandish within the Orto Parisi collection. So I would class it, yes, as a gourmand. And it is a sweet one too, but it's not overly sweet. It's not like wearing a cake. You know, there is probably a little bit of vanilla in here, just to sweeten out the dry down, but it's not a vanilla-y cake, like, you know, it's not a chocolate cake of a perfume, and it can't be because there's a spiky chili note in it, and there's, you know, there's ginger too, which are very, you know, obviously quite savoury, and the clash between the sweet and the savoury works incredibly well. So in answer to that one, yes, it is a gourmand. And we've only got 2 questions left. Next question is another really pertinent one, and that is, does it smell like any of the others? And the answer to that has to be yes. When you look at the Nascimato collection and the Orto Parisi collection, the darker woods and the musks that Gualtieri uses and pretty much everything are all very, very similar. You know, the musks are like a DNA throughout most of his perfumes, regardless of which house they're from. So there is always going to be some kind of familiarity. This one to me does lean itself a little towards Black Afghano. If it smells a little like Black Afghano, there's a good chance that people are going to think it smells a little like Toroni. And I think there is a link between them, and possibly a little bit of Brutus in here as well. So yeah, it does have a familiar vibe to obviously Toroni and Black Afghano. It's a lot more wearable than probably old Black Afghano and certainly current Toroni. It's less sort of smoky, it's less fiery, it's obviously less potent than Toroni. So, you know, it could be described almost as Toroni-like, but I don't think that would be doing the perfume justice because of this, you know, this chili, this cacao or chocolate in it. So it's worth having. I mean, I own them all, and I wear them all for different occasions, but it has to be said that there is a familiar note, you know, there is a familiar vibe to it when you look at the darker Orto Parisis. But it's a standout for me. You know, when I speak to people who own them as well as me, you know, who love them, this is actually one of the most popular ones from the collection. When I speak to people that have sampled quite a few of the Orto Parisis and they've bought one, quite often it's Boccanera, because it is so wearable, but it does, you know, it's a lovely, lovely perfume, but it does have some slight similarities to possibly Black Afghano, Toroni. Maybe there's a little bit of Duro in here, maybe not so much Duro actually. But yeah, there is a kind of a similarity, shall we say, but it doesn't smell exactly the same as any of them, and it's well worth owning even if you own the others. Okay, and the final question is, does it get compliments? And yes, it does. I've been told I smell lovely by a few different people whilst wearing Boccanera. It's not the out-and-out compliment getter that Bergamasque is, but it does smell lovely, you know, and because it has some presence around it. If you're wearing a nice smelling perfume that projects quite well, that has a good sillage, the chances are you're going to get a compliment if you're fishing for one, or you may get a random person in the street say you smell amazing. So yeah, it does get compliments. It's not a compliment beast, it's not a compliment magnet, but it does smell nice and it does project, so you will, you know, you will get compliments. Like I've said about 1,000 times, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, you do need to sample these. I wouldn't blind buy anything that Gualtieri's made. You know, there are Nascimatos, for example, that I like that I don't own because I just don't think I wear them, and I know that because I've sampled them. So I suggest you do the same. But for me, in closing, Boccanera is a fantastic perfume. I absolutely adore it. This purple magic in a bottle is one that you should definitely try. You know, if you want a long-lasting, fairly unique, apart from other perfumes from Gualtieri, this is really, really worth exploring, and it's a great, great perfume. So there you have it. That's 8 questions with regards to Orto Parisi's Boccanera. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I will carry on doing the Q&A thing. It's something me and Richard talked about. We both like the format. So if there are any perfumes that you would like to see us do a Q&A on, please let me know. Hit us up on Instagram or hit us on this channel, and we will, you know, if I can do it, I'll do it. Pretty much every perfume that there's a review of on the channel I still own, so it's easy to go back and do a Q&A. So just have a look, have a think, and if there's any you want to do, then come back to us. Anywho, thank you very much for your time. Always a pleasure. I hope you like this final instalment in the Orto Parisi Q&As, and we will be back soon as possible with another video. So listen guys, thank you very much for your time. Take care, have fun, cheers, and bye!